How are you? Well, welcome to our first 20 days of social and emotional learning lessons for the 2021 school year. We are certainly looking forward to the new school year and ready to embrace all the challenges that we will be overcoming this school year. But these will be the lessons for our pre-K and K-5 teachers to access. We are thrilled to have you with us today. These lessons were generated by two groups of people, and we have the Office of Special Education at the Department of Ed and also the Office of Early Learning and Literacy. And Angela Compton is our early learning specialist, and she helped to lead this work for the pre-K and K-5 groups, so she will be presenting today. So if anyone has any questions before we get started, I'm going to pause just a moment. Okay, great. Angela, the floor is yours. I'm going to mute myself and turn my video off, but I will be in the back wing back here if you need me, okay?
Okay. Welcome again, and I am just so excited and thrilled to be able to be, I am just the representative here of an amazing team that has developed these first 20 days of social and emotional learning. But I am excited that you are here with us. Wendy's already mentioned to you, the Office of Early Learning and Literacy teamed up with the Office of Special Education to build out these social and emotional learning lessons that you will be able to use the first month of school, if you so choose to do so. We have generated these lessons based on grade spans, as you can see here on the slide. Here our task force members are, here are our task force members and their area of focus. Again, I said I work with an amazing group of people. And so this team does bring a wealth of knowledge from early learning, literacy, and special education, and many years of experience in content and social and emotional learning. So just take a moment there to see who all was part of this task force. As we meet together today, just please remember the ABCs of webinar participation. If you would not mind, please mute your devices, use the chat box, or you can use your hand signals if you would like, and type any questions that you have in the chat. Wendy is going to be monitoring our chat box, and so she may read the chat box aloud so that we all may hear the comments and questions as we move along. Just to be sure, and I think Wendy has kind of checked this out, but is everyone hearing the presentations and able to see the slides so far?
No, I'm on the phone, so how can I see that?
Okay, so if you're on your phone, probably not, and I will try to talk you through that as much as I can. Anyone else having trouble that is viewing via your computer? Wendy? Okay, we are recording.
I can hear and see clearly.
Okay.
Angela, you're good. Keep rolling. And the chat box is rolling. I'm seeing lots of yeses and all good in the chat box, so keep rolling.
We are recording this session for others to view at a later time as needed. So just know that. I love this next slide. I'm gonna let you take a moment to just read this slide. Educating the whole learner cannot be reduced to a simple set of policies or proposals. It is instead a mindset that should inform the entire educational enterprise. And I think this just speaks so much to often natural tendency, I've been guilty that we focus so much on getting to the academics that we forget that if we don't look at the social, emotional, and cognitive development and how that is so intertwined with the academics, we're missing opportunities for every child. So let's begin today's webinar by defining what is social and emotional learning. As we are all aware, our students have been at home. in family situations during a time of this pandemic. Some of our children have been in very good situations. Some of our children, or all of our children, have really faced some challenges, changes in their daily routine and schedule. They probably lack a little bit of that predictability, and we know how children love that consistent schedule. And in some cases, our children have not been in the best situations. They also have this fear and anxiety of maybe a loved one getting sick. They may have lost a loved one during this time. So I think we know that those are all things that we have to consider as educators this year. And this time of isolation is something that we need to be prepared for as our students re-enter, or we re-enter their lives virtually in our schools and our classrooms. So take a moment to read this definition. And I would like for you to create a hashtag to drop in the chat box relating this definition. How does this definition relate to the work that you do? Whether you're a teacher, you're a school administrator, you might be a counselor, you might be a literacy coach. How does this definition relate? So create a kind of a hashtag in the chat box of how this relates to your work. So I'm going to give you a moment to read this definition. Sorry.
Angela, there's some great words coming up in the chat: mindfulness, self-awareness, people skills, relationships first, life. That's beautiful. I love these words. They're all great words, and they're very important words.
Wow. Yes, they are.
Selfish, the key. Self is the key. So knowing oneself, their mindfulness, beautiful.
Awesome. I love that. Did you say relationships first?
Yes, and that's exactly what it's going to be about.
That's right. So this, we have a profile of the Ready Kindergartner. We have just recently updated this. So all children, as we know, are, quote, ready for kindergarten when they are 5 years old by September 1st of that school year. But we all know that kindergarten readiness is much more than a matter of age. Of course, for a strong start in school, children need those, as you just mentioned in that chat box, those positive relationships and supportive learning environments, beginning at birth. And we know how important that is. So I think it is our responsibility as families and caregivers and communities to nurture the health and development necessary for school success, starting at birth. Our South Carolina profile of the Ready Kindergartner describes, as you can see here, the physical, cognitive, social, and emotional signs of school readiness. Because each child develops differently. Each child will be ready in different ways, as we all know. That is why schools and educators must also be ready and prepared to meet the individual students, the individual needs of all students at all levels and readiness, and providing whatever support and services are needed for a quality kindergarten experience. The Ready Kindergartner, and you can see this off to the side, the definition of the Ready Kindergartner, of course, with engaged support from his or her parents, caregivers, and the community, has developed the skills and abilities necessary for achievement at age-appropriate levels. And I just love the next part of this definition. He or she is physically, socially, and emotionally prepared to benefit from a quality kindergarten experience. I love that. And I'm going to say those words again. He or she is physically, socially, and emotionally prepared. It doesn't say anything about academics, and we all know that that is important as well. But I think it speaks volumes to we have to devote and focus our attention on the physical, social, and emotional well-being of our children before any academic learning can really take place and be solidified. Our early childhood community has identified a few social and emotional skills that are important for kindergartners, and you see that list on your screen. I'm not going to read all of them, but just take a moment to look at this list. Shares, wow, takes turns, expresses emotions through appropriate actions and words. And all of these were important prior to COVID. But think now about these children who may or may not have had to share in their homes or take turns, may or may not be in a situation where they are being taught appropriate ways to express their emotions. Show self-control. Wow. Resolves conflicts using words and adult support. And those are just a few that I highlighted there. But pre-K and 5K are the foundation during the time when the child's brain is most malleable. And that just means it's most able to grow and mold those dendrites at the highest rate. I'm going to put a plug in here, though, that at no matter what age, we still have to foster that development. All right, our next slide shows, of course, you're very familiar with this, the profile of the South Carolina graduate. Also supports the social and emotional learning. I just want you to take a moment to look and read the stars. And down at the bottom, the life and career characteristics, that star goes with pretty much, that star represents all of those listed across there. So here are these skills related to the profile of a ready kindergartner and the profile of a ready South Carolina graduate. I would like for you to think about how are these skills related back to the profile of the kindergartner. How is the graduate related to the kindergartner? And jot your thoughts in the chat box, please. How do you see the correlation between these two?
Angela, I see that the early learning is the foundation for making sure those students are college and career ready. What we see in the chat box, opportunities for language and play in the classroom develop these skills in our kindergarten students. That's right. Our pre-K and kindergarten teachers are important. The foundation of the skills begin in kindergarten. Collaboration and teamwork equals sharing. Yeah, I like that one, Amy. Yes. Wendy Todd again says foundations. Myron, teamwork is not going to happen if the foundation is not there. That's right, Myron.
Wow, you're exactly right. I love that tie-in to that. You're right, that critical thinking and problem solving, collaboration and teamwork all those relate directly to that sharing and turn taking and showing empathy with others.
And Angela, Lee points out that these skills are also required in the workforce as well as the kindergarten classroom. How beautiful is that?
Oh, yes, they are. Absolutely. And that's what the workforce is looking for, right? That was beautiful. Anything else, Wendy?
Talena says the soft skills are so important as a foundation. So she's agreeing with Lee there.
Wow. They are, absolutely. And I know we all foster this, and we're all in a time, I think, that now we can really value and take risk and try out this focus more on the social emotional development and just see where that takes us academically. Because I'm a huge and firm believer that building children's self-esteem, their critical thinking and problem solving, their ability to work well with others, gives us big gains academically. So again, I think that is very important. So this morning, we've talked already about what is social and emotional learning, and we're going to get into a little bit of the why before we take you to, I know what you're all waiting for, those lessons. So why the need for SEL? I'm not going to read this slide to you, but if you will just take a moment to look at it, I'm going to highlight a few things for you. We know, as you all have just mentioned in the chat box, that yes, pre-K and kindergarten are the foundation. These social, emotional, and cognitive competencies are developed throughout our lives, and they're essential to all those things you've just said: schools, workplaces, homes, communities. They are intertwined, and they are interdependent in their development and their experience and their use, these cognitive, social, and emotional capabilities. And again, engaging in social and emotional learning informs programs and practices we know can improve teacher effectiveness and their well-being. And so I do want to take a plug here to say that we as educators, administrators, teachers, counselors, all of those people that work in the school building also need to take time for your own social emotional well-being. So again, why the need for? This slide just shows another highlight of the importance of social and emotional learning. The first little box you see there speaks directly to better academic performance. And I want to give you a little bit of a statistic here. There is research that shows achievement scores have increased an average of 11 percentile points with students who had social and emotional learning. So those students scored 11 percentile points higher than students who did not receive social and emotional learning instruction. That's a big one. Of course, we have improved attitudes and behaviors, greater motivation to learn. In that second box, a deeper commitment to school, increased time devoted to schoolwork. There were fewer negative behaviors as well. There was decreased disruptive classroom behavior. There were fewer acts of aggression and disciplinary referrals. The last one, there was reduced emotional distress, and there were fewer reports of student depression, anxiety, stress, and social withdrawal. So that's huge for the importance of social and emotional learning. The next slide you're going to see is the social and emotional learning 5 core competencies. And you are going to hear these referred to as the CASEL competencies. These are the 5 core competencies that our state is looking at to let's develop in all of our children. So you have self-awareness, And again, the bullets on the side, I'm going to highlight a few, but we know that self-awareness is recognizing our strengths, and that's huge for children. Recognizing their, having their sense of self-confidence. And again, I just want to plug that if children do not have a belief in their ability to, I'm going to use reading, make sense of text, then it's going to be harder for them to see themselves as readers. So again, how that ties to the academics. I'm going to flip through these really quickly. We have self-management. Again, we know what that is. Perseverance, being able to have those organizational skills and control those impulses. Social awareness, again, perspective taking, empathy, appreciating diversity, relationship skills, and responsible decision making. I'm just going to let you kind of marinate on this slide for just a moment. Think for a moment how these 5 core competencies directly relate to the profile of the Ready Kindergartner and the profile of the graduate. Just think about that for just a moment. I think we see some of those life and career characteristic skills, as well as some of those other skills. This slide is going to talk a little bit about social emotional learning is not, and I love this piece because we are not talking about a feel-good activity. We're not talking about an attempt to parent children, and it is not a substitute for, again, those core academic subjects. But it does provide us with an extra dimension to education. And I personally, as I've already said, think that it provides us a means and a way to improving the academics. So we look at South Carolina, as you may be aware or may not be aware, is a pyramid state. And by this, we mean that we have a state leadership team comprised of all early childhood sectors, and our policies align with this evidence-based framework to support social and emotional learning of young children. The pyramid is an evidence-based framework that supports social emotional learning along a tiered structure, and we'll learn a little bit more about that shortly. But to implement this pyramid model at the program level, a leadership team is developed. There is the benchmarks of quality are completed. Training and data collection processes are determined, usually utilizing a statewide cross-sector team of trainers, and those trainers are called the master cadre, as needed, so that children can identify their feelings, form and keep relationships, and control their behavior. So the pyramid model is really about prevention and teaching children the skills that they need to be successful socially and emotionally. So if we look at this tiered structure, it all rests on an effective workforce. So again, cannot thank you all enough for what you do. Teachers, administrators, counselors who work hard to ensure young children can solve problems and experience those big feelings without hurting themselves or others, and that you are setting the framework for relationships that support all learning. So again, thank you. It all rests on that effective workforce. All of the CASEL competencies, or the 5 core competencies that you saw earlier, can be taught explicitly through in each of the tiers of the pyramid model. And as well as they can teach those pre-literacy skills and math skills. The pyramid does support that social emotional learning, utilizing those evidence-based strategies for not only teaching social and emotional skills, but teaching reading and math as well. And it becomes our early childhood MTSS structure. Okay, and I know now the part that you all have been waiting for. Welcome to the South Carolina Department of Education, Social and Emotional First 20 Days of School Lessons. Again, just want to reiterate that early childhood sectors may use any and all of the resources that you see provided as you see fit. They can be used if you are finishing up your summer learning. You may definitely use them. They could be utilized as part of the school reentry. Throughout the first month or the 20 days of school, teachers can use this resource to support those 5 core competencies, as mentioned earlier in the webinar. The overall arching theme for the lesson for kindergarten, as you can see here on the slide, is a pre-K and kindergarten, excuse me. I am special and you are too. Just love that. So throughout these social and emotional lessons and literacy-based lessons, you will find integrated lessons which allow students to focus on learning about themselves and others, while enjoying interaction with communication and writing skills. These lessons are founded on the belief that all young children learn and grow, and each area of their development is interrelated and contributes to how well they learn and master those new skills. Therefore, the learning opportunities provided will address all domains of the South Carolina Early Learning Standards, as well as the South Carolina College and Career Ready Standards in an integrated manner. The lessons will be housed at the link that you see. This link will be live starting tomorrow, August the 6th. So you will be able to click on this link, but I'm going to walk you through the next couple of slides and kind of dive deeper into what these lessons look like in pre-K and kindergarten and what you can expect. So if you take a look at this slide, this again is a glance at the units. So the overarching theme is I am special and you are too. Week 1, I am remarkable and you are too. Week 2, I am independent and you are too. Week 3, I understand you and you understand me. Aren't those beautiful? Week 4, I am a friend and you are too. And week 5, I am responsible and you are too. Okay, I think that this next slide that you see, you will notice a teacher tab. So you can click on the SEL web page when that link is live starting tomorrow. And you can click on the teacher tab and you will find the lessons. You will click on pre-K and K5 lessons. These lessons were developed again using the South Carolina Early Learning Standards, the 5 core competencies, incorporating some of the College and Career Ready standards and strategies from the pyramid model that we just talked about. So if you take this is kind of a glance at the month of the social and emotional learning lessons. Each week's lesson has a template, some great little resources that you can definitely download and print, and a bookmaking resource as well. So if we look at, there are weekly lessons at a glance here. We started with a read aloud, and we also started with our competency focus. So you see the competency focus there across the top. I'll just take you kind of quickly through week 1. Was self-awareness. We have a word of the week, which is remarkable, that came right from our read aloud, which is Remarkably You by Patrice Barton. We have a guiding question. What makes you special and remarkable? And wow, isn't that good for all of us to think about, even adults, in a time like this? We have central ideas, which is everyone is special and remarkable. So again, teachers, administrators, counselors, literacy coaches, literacy specialists, please keep that in mind. Everyone is special and remarkable in their own unique way. We do have suggested literacy practices, which include bookmaking, listening, speaking, and writing. And they're going to create a book using words like remarkable and capable and talent and flair. Wow, increasing that oral language vocabulary. And we did provide you with an additional book if you would like to use that instead. Okay, so when we look at each week, we said has a template along with additional resources to support social and emotional learning. Each week you have the opportunity for bookmaking, center ideas, and family connections. So we're going to take a quick dive in this slide into week 1 so that you can see what the format kind of looks like. This template has links to other read alouds as well that you may choose to order these books for your classroom in advance, or you may already have some of these books. The link is on the picture of the book for the read aloud. You can have that again for virtual folks. There is a YouTube video that this book will be read to you. So this is what the bookmaking resource particularly looks like. On day 1, they're going to draw a picture of yourself. You're going to draw a picture of yourself and tell how you are remarkable. And then day 2, you see that's something that you can do that you're capable of doing. A talent, and then what is something about you that is unique? Remember, everyone is special and unique in their own way. So your style and flair. And then day 5, they're going to draw or write about their favorite word or favorite picture from the story. And then there's going to be some book sharing. So that's kind of what the bookmaking looks like. There is a resource and a document to support that as well. We talked about resources. Each template also offers resources. I love this one. It did come from NCPMI, the National Center. And it is about greetings. So again, we know that we are going to have to think about what are some things that we already do, but now that we're going to have to do differently. So again, I love this greetings poster about what are some other ways that we can greet people in this COVID world. So again, just wanted to let you take a sneak peek at what resources are available. You can definitely download this poster. You can print it in color or black and white. So all of our resources, you have access to do that with. All right, so each template has family connections. I think that, again, we always talk about how important families are our partner. But again, with this pandemic world that we have been living in, it's probably more important than ever. So we do have family connections. Each template has these. Week 1 includes some of these ideas for family engagement. They all link the daily learning in the classroom for the student so that there's something that they can link to and do at home that they have learned that day in the school day. I think these could be communicated again with families via teacher newsletter, Seesaw, Remind 101, or any other teacher communication platform that you utilize. I'm going to hush for just a moment and let you just take a moment to kind of read a couple of these. I think you can notice that these family engagement connections are things that any family can do with their children. I think it also prompts families or helps teach families the importance of conversations, having conversations with your children, building that oral language vocabulary. And I'm really excited about our family connections, again, developed by that great team. Here are just some additional websites and resources that we have utilized that you may be interested that would support you in your work with social and emotional learning for your children, your school, your classroom. So, are there any questions? We definitely thank you for your time with us today. This is a big topic and an important topic. So we do thank you for your time. I will pause now for questions. And Wendy, I know, is checking the chat box to see if we have any questions.
Angela, we did have one question from Oneida.
Okay.
She was just asking if families could use these lessons, and I just responded within the chat box that these lessons will be posted publicly on the SEL, the Social and Emotional Learning website that the Office of Special Education has created. That will be live tomorrow. So these will be public for anyone to use. And of course, the family connections are within those teacher templates so that teachers can use those daily links to their lessons and send them home via whatever communication platform that they use for their daily conversation with families. But we got a lot of wonderful responses in the chat box. The lessons are very creative. I love the family connections. We are also hearing within the chat box the love of the use of literacy within the lessons, and that the books are a diverse selection, and looks like we hear great resources and some other wonderful things about the lessons. So we are very excited for the field to have the opportunity to use these. And for those of you that are teachers that are working in those pre-K and 5K classrooms, please know that you are our heartbeat, and we appreciate you, and we are so thankful for you. And if there is absolutely anything that we can do for you from our early learning team, please feel free to let us know. Reach out to us via phone or email, and we will come on site and help you in any shape, form, or fashion. That is absolutely what we are here for. If you are interested in additional pyramid training and learning more about that, we also will bring that training out to local districts and schools. Just reach out to us and let us know what you need.
Perfect, Wendy. And yes, just again, thank you all for being with us today. I don't think there's nothing more important than building a child's social and emotional well-being, but also take care of your own. Thank you again for joining us, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Good job, y'all.
Thank you.
Hey ladies, it's Audrey.
Thank
These
you.
are awesome. I'm so excited.
Thank you, Audrey.
For them to be available. You guys did a great job.
Thank you. Is it just you guys on here now?
No, we still have other friends.